evening and welcome to the Press Box. My name is Melissa Ponzio, and for the next 30 minutes I'll be your host on Atlanta's newest sports talk show. With me, Jim Feagle, Ty Reynolds. How you doing?
We're doing good.
Great.
Good. Well, I'm sorry to say that our special guest tonight, Corey Johnson, who will be playing football for the University of Georgia next year, couldn't be with us. So guess what? It's just the three of us for the next half hour, but I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Let's start things off with Braves and Mike Bielecki's elbow injury. He was the fifth starter. How is this going to affect us?
Well, anytime you have a start, the Braves have been pretty fortunate the last couple of years. They haven't had a lot of injury problems. Now with Mike Bielecki going down, we're forced to look for somebody to eat some innings, basically. And he had done a really good job. He had a little over a 2.5 ERA, and now we're looking at needing somebody to come up and step into his shoes, and they've decided Pete Smith was the person.
Okay.
They had another youngster down there at Richmond, David Need, who might have been able to do the job, but we're not really sure the reasons, if they don't want to expose him to the expansion draft or whatnot. But Pete Smith is he hasn't done the job in the past. Really, he's been a major leaguer for 6 years, and I don't think he's going to perform up to Bielecki's standards. Not that Bielecki was one of my favorite pitchers, but I got to basically admit he's done the job last year, the whole year. 2.5 ERA. His record isn't that great, but you've got a guy who's eating innings and giving quality time to the team.
Oh, I can tell you the first effect, it's rejuvenated the baseball talk shows in Cincinnati. The loss of Bielecki is going to be felt, and the Braves are going to need Pete Smith to come through. I went through and looked at the schedule and designated how many starts he would have to have with the rotation. And I counted 11. And the Braves only have 2 off days in August and I think only 3 in September. So unless Bobby Cox wants to take a chance and pitch some guys on 3 days rest, I wouldn't advise that, not this late in the season. There's a couple of times where Smith's start is followed by an off day, and then Lee Brandt would be the next pitcher. And so he could take a chance and then just say, okay, Charlie, suck it up this time, pitch on 3 days rest, and then the rest of the staff with that off day coming up after that would have their 4 days rest. So Bobby Cox is going to have some decisions to make.
I still think look for John Sherholz to possibly make a trade here also. The person would have to, now after 5 o'clock today, any trade will have to clear waivers by that. If whoever they want to trade for, all the 27 other teams will have to basically pass off on them before they can actually make the trade. Similar to Bielecki and Berryhill last year, and I think possibly a trade might be in the making. He's going to look for that certainty to kind of nail down this pennant. And I don't think Pete Smith is really the answer that we're looking for. And I haven't checked into it. His tie has 11 starts, but 11 starts of Pete Smith based on past performance, what he's given us. Although he's having a good year at AAA, I don't like those odds. I see it directly as games that Cincinnati's going to gain on us in one way or other. I don't even see the Braves probably playing 500 ball behind Pete Smith. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Okay. For our viewing audience, if you'd like to call in with any comments, questions, or criticisms, please call us. Our number is 873-6713. In fact, we have a call coming in as I'm speaking. Hi, caller. You're on the air. Well, technical difficulties. But one quick question before we try to get that phone call. Do you think Tommy Glavine will wear down like he did last season at the end?
I don't look for this 10-game win streak to end up being a 20-game win streak. But I think Glavine is got what it takes and the mental makeup to, I think, produce at maybe pitching, winning 65-70% of the time from here on out.
Okay. Hi, caller. You're on the air. Hello.
I'd like to know what you think Deion Sanders is going to do.
Deion Sanders.
Well, Dione,
Thank you for calling.
Dione, I think, is going to do what Dion wants to do. He's really got some leverage on his side. I mean, this guy, he had $1 million just waving in his face just to come into the Falcon camp. I don't know, if someone offered me $1 million just to show up somewhere, I don't care if it's Siberia in January, I'm going to find my way to get there. That's a lot of money. And to me, just from what I've read, Dion looks like he wants to do both. He wants to play baseball and he wants to play football I think that's what he's told his agent, Parker, and I think that's what they're going to try and negotiate that with. The Braves, I think, would be flexible with that. I think the Falcons don't want that to happen. The Falcons want more of a commitment. They need more time.
I think, look where the money's at. The Braves have more money than the Falcons do. Dion's going to end up having some role with the Braves. That's my opinion anyway. I think Dione also will probably get an extension on that $1 million offer until at least next week sometime. I see Dione playing baseball, at least in some role. I think he wants to be a part of the winner. He's got close friends on both clubs, but I think he really is enjoying the winning attitude, being in first place with the Braves, and I think it'd be hard for him just to leave it all together.
What do you think about him playing for the Braves on the weekdays and then playing with the Falcons on Sunday? Like sort of a compromise. What do you think about that?
Well, Dione, if anyone can do it, he can. Whatever this guy goes out and does, it really won't surprise me because he's done enough things to surprise me already. I don't know how much of missing practice is going to affect Dione. I don't know how much practice you need in just covering someone man-to-man. You just look at a fast receiver and say, hey, Dione, cover him man-to-man. You got him. He's been doing that for several years now, and he looks like he can do that pretty well. I don't know how much practice or missing practice is going to affect his play with the Falcons. As of with the Braves are content with that compromise.
Okay, we have a phone call. Hi, caller, you're on the air.
Yes, this question is for Ty and Jim. Who do they believe the Braves are going to lose in the expansion next year? I'll call, hang up, listen. Thank you.
Wait, excuse me. Keep them on there. I couldn't hear
The
that.
Braves are going to lose out in the extension?
Expansion draft.
Expansion. Sorry. That's his question.
I'm not really sure of the question, but I think the Braves are you're going to get to protect the first 15 players, and then the team have kind of carte blanche on what's left after that. And you're probably looking at speculation is that Jeff Blauser is going to be the first to go. I'm not so sure the Braves aren't going to protect him, but let's say it is Blauser. Then the Braves get to protect 3 other players, and I'm not really sure, if there's a whole lot after protecting 18 of the 19 players that they're really going to lose a lot. So I don't see the expansion draft as really hurting the Braves and destroying their future. They might lose a good middle infielder. They might lose a prospect, but other than that, it's not going to really affect the nucleus of the team, I don't believe.
Right, and significantly enough, going back to Mike Bilecki, I don't think the Braves are going to make another offer on him. He's going to be a free agent after this year. He's in his early 30s. What, about 32 years old, Jim?
I don't think he's that old. I believe he's 30, but
About 30.
Don't quote me on that.
Right, and so this is a guy with a sore arm. And the Braves have a couple of arms down there in the minor leagues in Richmond and Greenville that they have high hopes for. So I don't see the Braves going out and spending the big bucks on a guy like Bilecki to re-sign him.
Yeah, plus the Braves also, if they decide to make trades, they have a lot of room. They've got some really young position player prospects that they can do some finagling with down at Greenville. That's probably overall the best minor league club out there. Maybe I'm biased. It's an Atlanta-based team, but Greenville is hot with Melvin Niebs and a number of other prospects. Chipper Jones, I think, will be major leaguers one day.
Okay, well, we have a call. Hi, caller, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, my name is Fred. I have 2 little boys from Los Angeles visiting, and he'd like to know what are the Dodgers' chances of getting in the World Series this year?
Okay. The Dodgers.
Hate to say it, but
Slim and
Darryl
none.
Strawberry gone. Darryl Strawberry is a key cog on that team, and he's going to have disc surgery, and he's out for the year. Elected to do that, so hopefully he can come back next year for the Dodgers. But I just think the Dodgers are a team without direction. The free agents that they've picked up have been star players in the past that have been major busts for them. Eric Davis, Strawberry. They got rid of a productive player in Eddie Murray, but I will say they did bring up Eric Karros, which is a bona fide, a good-looking prospect, 15-homer guy now, a couple months left. Look for him to be a 25, 30 home run guy for years in the future. Let's see if he's going to be another Eddie Murray type guy, or if he's going to be a Mike Marshall type guy who's kind of a bust, a fringe player. But the Dodgers really, their pitching staff, Ramon Martinez isn't the phenom that we thought he was going to be. Oral Hershiser is mediocre at best now after the surgery. They're just not the team that they were a few years ago.
I just want to comment on that quickly. That is a team in turmoil, and I don't be surprised if Tom Lasorda doesn't finish out his contract with them. I really think he's unhappy and is ready to get out, and their minor leagues are just empty. There's nothing there. And also...
Well, I don't think their minor leagues are empty. They've got a number of good-looking prospects, and namely Ramon Martinez, his little brother Pedro, is an excellent-looking pitcher that I think you might look to him at the end of the year and see him up. He might be better than his brother. Maybe his brother didn't work out. Maybe he'll work out. But they've got some pretty decent prospects down on the farm.
Do you expect them to pull those guys up, the prospects?
Yeah, well, I see it in September, getting their cup of coffee. But they're next year, the Dodgers, I think, you'll see a little infusion of youth coming in.
Okay. Jim, something else that was significant. Did you notice where they released Juan Samuel?
Yeah, well, he's been, I believe in 87 or 88, I believe he had, 25, 26 homers or something, over 100 RBIs, stealing 80 bases. I mean, just incredible numbers. And that might have been the year it was the juiced-up ball where McGuire hit 49 homers. But
2 years ago,
every year his numbers have been in decline. His speed's going. He's not a legit second baseman, and he's really not that great a fielding outfielder. So defensively, he's a liability, and if he can't hit offensively, who needs him? I don't think it was a bad move on LA's part if they were able to get out of any salary on his part. I'd just eat it.
I don't know if they're going to be able to get out of any salary there. I think a team could possibly take a chance, pick him up, pay him, about $100,000 while LA has to eat the rest of his contract, and maybe give him a new place to play. I don't know. Being on the same team with Darryl Strawberry, where he certainly has talked a lot more this year than he's played, has probably created a lot of tension on the team and probably has made a lot of people unhappy.
Okay, we have a phone call. Hi, caller, you're on the air.
I'm Sherry from Duluth. I was just wanting to ask Ty if he thought, what he thought about the Braves going with Pete Smith since they lost by Lecky, and if he thought that, how long he thought that they were going to stay with Pete Smith before they traded off for a new pitcher.
Okay, thank you.
Well, they're going to go along with Pete Smith as long as he can show that he can help them win ball games. If he can go out there and pitch 5 or 6 innings and give up 3 runs, I think the Braves would be happy with that.
I don't. I disagree. 5 or 6 innings and giving up 3 runs, that's not even a quality start.
That is a quality start.
No, it isn't.
6 innings, 3 runs. Yes.
Yeah, a quality start for the Braves right now, the way they're hitting is like going maybe 7 innings and giving up 1 or 2 runs. It's not going to be a 5 or 6 inning game. It's not. There's not really you can't pin down what a quality start is. You can use what was his name up in New York? Manager Howard Johnson used to use for a lot of time. I mean, not Howard Johnson.
Davey Johnson.
Used for a number of years. I think it was 6 innings, 3 earned runs. But that isn't a quality start right now for the Braves. They need 7 innings and 2 or less runs. That's a quality start, and I don't see Pete Smith giving it to him on a regular basis.
Well, we'll see what happens. He's going to have his chance, and like I said, the Braves going to have to get something out of him. 6 innings, 3 runs. I think they would be happy with it. I think they could win half of their games if they go 500 in the games that he pitches.
6 innings,
if they go 500 in the games that he pitches,
that's a 4.5 ERA.
You have a chance to win half of your games.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. But now, we will be going on to our tape of Polo at the Southeastern Polo Club, where Steve Marcos is interviewing Ron Hunt. And we'll be back in just about 8 minutes.
Hi, this is Steve Marcos here for the Press Box. We're out at the Atlanta Southeastern Polo Club talking to Ron Hunt today. He's going to tell us a little bit about polo. Ron, what team do you play for out here?
I have my Frankie's team. It's my business that I have with my partners, and we support 4 games a year out here and play every Sunday at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock out here. All right, can you tell us a little recap for a lot of people who may not know much about polo? What's the object of the game and maybe a few of the rules?
It's a little bit like hockey or soccer. You've got 4 players on each team. The field is 9 times the size of a football field. Object is to get the ball between the 2 goal posts, and it's 6 chuckers, which are 7 minutes apiece, and
those are like quarters.
Yeah, game lasts about 2 hours.
Is there any particular type of horse that's better, any type of breed that's better than others for polo, or any horse do?
Most of the horses used out here are thoroughbreds. They have a little bit more endurance. We do have a little bit of quarter horse in them for a little bit more speed and get up, but thoroughbred is the predominant horse.
Exactly. What do you need to get started if you wanted to take up the game of polo?
If you want to get started, depending on your past riding capabilities, if you've ridden before, you want to get out here and just get out, hit the ball a little bit, see if you enjoy it. Most people who are playing polo have ridden in their past. There are schools here in Atlanta. There are a lot of people willing to teach. There's 4 different clubs in the area. A lot of pros here, so it's available for anybody to get into the game and just start off with 1 horse, see if they like it.
All right, you say once you start playing a tournament, though, you need more than 1 horse, pretty much.
For the games out here, most of these players out here have 6, 7 horses. You've got to change your horses every time, every trucker, and the horses get beat up pretty good. They're worn out, so you need fresh mounts just about every game.
What's the minimum horses you would recommend at least having?
To get started, I would just start with 1 horse and see if you like the game. If you like the game, then to get into the game, then to be able to play every week, then you need a minimum 3 horses.
Minimum 3. And what other type of equipment would you need?
Oh, you need saddles, bridles, wraps, vets, grooms. There's a lot of work involved.
And where can you play besides out here at the Southeastern Atlanta Polo Club? And how often can you play if you wanted to right here around Atlanta?
Yeah, most of us play 3 or 4 times a week.
Oh, yeah.
There's the Atlanta Southeastern Polo Club here. We have the Vinings Polo Club, which is off of Highway 75. We have the Mount Vernon Polo Club. And then there's teams in Aiken and Columbus. There's about 10 clubs throughout the state of Georgia.
So around Atlanta, there's either here or Vinings, pretty much.
Here, Vinings, Mount Vernon.
And when do you play actual games? Are they usually out here?
Every Sunday is the big matches out here at Atlanta Southeast Polo Club, which you just go up Highway 400, take exit 8, follow the signs. Every Sunday, 2 o'clock, we'll be putting on a match, and it's usually a benefit match.
All right, you say during the week you play Tuesdays and Thursdays, that's just for fun? Or
Tuesdays and Thursdays are more for
practice,
fun, practice, schooling our horses, practicing and shaping up our skills.
All right, and getting on, this was a tournament out here. Is there any type of a system where there's national tournaments where you're going to travel around, or type of a tournament system for rankings and stuff like that?
Right. The United States Polo Association sponsors tournaments throughout the year. This is what we call a 4-goal tournament, which everybody's handicaps are an aggregate of 4 goals. We do have 8 and 12-goal tournaments. There's one coming up Labor Day. We'll start here in this region. The region finals will be Labor Day weekend. The winners then will go on to Kentucky, and the winners then will go on to California for the United States finals.
We're going to take a look, though, before we leave. Ron's going to take us down to the horses. We're going to look at some of the equipment and stuff. And we'll be right back with some of that, and then we'll go to some action shots and show you a little bit about what polo looks like.
We're back underway. Mike Coffey puts it on the ground. Both teams trying to get it out of the pile. Popped out in the Cadillac direction. Here, Worsham right there. Worsham, long driving shot by Hugh Worsham. He goes to his ball, certainly going long enough for the layups right through the mouth of the goal. Hugh Worsham reaches down, back shot. Excellent back shot by Tiger East. Bad Nichols right here. What's happened? Takes the next shot, passes it, puts it right between the uprights, I believe. Nice goal by Captain Nichols with a great next shot.
All right, now we're back here with Ron, and we moved down to where they keep the horses, so you can kind of see in the back here. And Ron's got some of the equipment, a mallet, and I guess a ball.
There's a ball.
What's exactly is that thing made out of?
It's made out of real hard plastic. They're also made out of hard wood. They get dented up pretty good. They'll last about 1 game, and that's about it. And then we have our polo mallet. And it's going to be probably anywhere from 50 to 53 inches long, depending on the size of the horse. You'll choose a different length mallet.
Looks like, is that bamboo?
It's bamboo. Most of them made in Argentina, and they send them up here. They're made in England also.
Is there any, are any of them made out of like metals or anything? Or
There is a graphite mallet that they're experimenting with now. It lasts a lot longer. These mallets cost about $70 a piece. The graphite mallets go for about $100. They'll last a lot longer. Most players prefer the traditional bamboo, however.
Now you say these came from Argentina, and that's a big country for polo then, right?
Yeah, this one came from Argentina. Argentina is, out of the top 10 players in the world, probably 8 of them come from Argentina.
I think, and then is England, is that probably another good place? Or
England has a large amount. Right now, Argentina is supplying most of the really high goal polo players, as well as the United States.
So the U.S. is actually, though you don't hear about it, is actually a big polo country.
Polo is a big polo country because all the sponsorship for the big matches come from the United States. Your American Express, your Rolex, your Cadillac teams, those are the big sponsors.
All right, and over here on the ground,
we've got bridles, we've got saddles, we've got leg wraps, which you see on all the horses. And it takes quite a bit of equipment. You can see right here, we've got 3 grooms just taking care of the horses right here. It's an all-day event.
Is any of this equipment for the horses, is that any different than actual that you would use to ride or race? Is that a little different equipment?
Yeah, as you can, I don't know if you can see in the background here, but we wrap each one of the horse's 4 legs to protect them from possibly being hit by mallets. That's the most frequent accident, is the horse gets hit on the back side of the leg. We do use a little bit of extra equipment just for the safety reason of keeping saddles in place and keep the saddles from moving around too much.
Alrighty, well that about wraps it up here, and right now we're going to go to a little action from the, what's the name of this tournament here again?
This is the Atlanta Southeast Polo Club 4-goal tournament.
And who was sponsoring today?
Today it's being sponsored by Stolichnaya Cristal Vodka.
Alrighty, we're going to take a little look at some of the action, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Tiger Nice reaches down, takes the next shot, turns around, doesn't get a lot of distance out of it, but he's got the line and picks it up again. Tiger Nice now bringing the ball down the field. Tiger Nice Jeff Conway causing the problems there. Long driving shot by Cristal, passes it up to Tiger Nice. Tiger Nice picks it up and drives it. Tiger Nice now looks down, sets himself. Tiger Nice, long driving shots towards goal. Tiger Nice all by himself. Jeff Conway going to reach out, try to hook him out, but Tiger Nice takes a shot. And a nice goal by Tiger Nice. 9-7. 9-7 going into the last 5 minutes of the 6th checker of play. And the guys in the Stoli Cristal tent starting to come unglued.
Okay, we're back. That was Steve Marcos interviewing Ron Hunt out at the Southeastern Polo Club. Before we get on with our baseball talk once again, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Frankie's, Sports Life, Sporting Times, and the Atlanta Voice. Once again, I'm very sorry that our guest, Corey Johnson, could not make it tonight. So for the last half of the show, we will be talking about the National League East, first of all. Now, Montreal, this is a surprise, they're in first now. Just like the Braves last year, it's sort of a worst to first now. What do you think?
Well, at the beginning of the year, the 2 favorites in the National League East, Jim, were Pittsburgh and New York. And personally, I didn't pick either one of them. I thought there would be a surprise. Unfortunately, I didn't pick Montreal. I thought it'd be St. Louis. But Montreal has hung around in a division that's been weak. I mean, you look at the top 2 clubs in this league, Montreal and Pittsburgh right now, and their records aren't even as good as San Diego's, and they're in 3rd place. And then the 3rd place team in the East is Chicago, and they're 2 games under 500. Montreal's got a legitimate shot. They have some good young players, and they're gaining confidence, and they know they can play with these guys, and they could possibly win that thing.
Yeah, I think the reason the National League East records are so bad is because the National League West is so good, especially Cincinnati and Atlanta, who are going to come over and join them next year. But I think Montreal has been a very pleasant surprise with Reynolds gone and Philippe Alou coming in to manage the team. He's a player's manager. They're rallying behind him. And I think, look to see him drop a little bit in the stats. I think the cog of their team, Marquis Grissom, just broke his hand. And I really see some other teams passing them up here in a little bit, namely the Mets. I think the Mets, they were my team to beat at the beginning of the year. I still think they're going to come back and they're going to do it by the end of the season. But I think Marquis Grissom is going to be a big problem for the Expos trying to spell it out.
Okay, we have a phone call. Hi, caller, you're on the air.
Hi, I got two questions for the guys, Ty and Jim.
Okay.
First one is on, have you heard any new names as far as managers for the Rockies and the Marlins being swirled around? I know Joe Necro is involved with Denver in some respect. And secondly, your opinion on the District Court or Superior Court up in Chicago denying the appeal of Faye Vincent.
Okay, thank you very much for calling. First question.
Looking at these managers, Jim, I can't understand why none of them are looking at a guy like Dave Johnson. I mean, here it is. The guy managed in New York City, takes this Met team to great expectations, wins the World Series in '86, and he had those guys playing really well and very competitive. I don't understand why no one's really looking at him. Maybe he's just not interested in managing. But as for any other names, you hear the same ones mentioned once in a while. Even Chris Chambliss down in Richmond was mentioned.
Yeah, I think Davey Johnson, I don't think, I think he didn't raise up to the level of his talent a few years, and I think that's, I think he had a little more talent than his record indicated. I think baseball people have picked up on that and kind of put the black ball out on him. But I think Chris Chambliss would make a fine manager, and that's of local interest. I'd hate seeing the Atlanta organization lose a fine manager like that, but it's a step that he wants to make, and I think if the possibility's open, let him take it.
Okay, really quick, your opinion on the Faye Vincent situation. Excuse me.
I'm not exactly sure where that stands now, but apparently he stated it was the district court, but I believe it was supposed to be the Court of Appeals up in Chicago, and I wasn't aware that they had denied it at this point. But and I'll look next week and try and find some coverage as far as that's concerned, because it's a little new for me right now, and I guess it was just either today or yesterday that they made that decision to deny the appeal.
Right. Let's go back to talking about these Expos, Jim, before we got the phone call here. You're right. If Grissom's gone, that's going to hurt that team. This guy's leading the National League in stolen bases. He's got 54 stolen bases. He's right up there, tops in runs. I think DeShields leads the National League with 65 runs scored, and Grissom's right there with 63. So Montreal, they cannot afford to lose him. He scores way too many runs, and he's too much of an offensive weapon, and that'll take away some of the effectiveness of
and
Walker.
defensively he's an asset also. Right. That's another intangible that's hard to replace. But go ahead.
On the other hand, they need to get something out of some other people. Players like Sam Franco need to step it up. Why he can't hit these other people, I don't know. This guy kills the Braves. Tim Wallach, this guy has been an all-star I don't know how many times, and here he is. He's having a terrible year. He's only got 4 home runs, and he's been batting around 230. He's struggling. They need people like that to pick it up a little bit. They need to get more victories for Naples, who has around a 3.6 ERA and is under 500.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Next week, our guest will be Steve Figueroa, talking about high school football and recruiting. And we'll see you next week, Friday, 8:30. And thank you so much.